Today we are going to make pizza dough, mashed potato, banana bread, lemonade, risotto, 3-layer dish, and 4 others we've done already, but in the link below you'll be able to access them, and those are vegetable stock, nut milk, granola, and ice cream. Let's cook! My name is Cosmina. Welcome back to our channel. Last time I was showing you 8 dishes that I'm not buying anymore from the supermarket as a pre-done product, and I'm doing it at home with my new Thermomix. Now I've decided to show you 10 most recommended dishes that you as a newbie, or if you've done always the same dishes and you'd like something new, please try these ones. So let's start with the 3-layer dish. Today I've chosen a fish menu, and why I find this so important, me personally as a mom of 2 small kids, but also as a working mom or a very busy life day to day. In this dish we are preparing in 20 minutes the sauce, the fish, the vegetables on the side, and the potatoes. The beauty of the Thermomix is that you are in front of it for 5 minutes and you leave it, and you don't have to be there. You don't have to man a pan, it just will stop once it's ready and you go back to it. So in this time you can do many other things. You can tidy up the kitchen, you can go have a shower, read a book, attend your kids. Anything you need to do, it can be done because the Thermomix can be led by itself. In my Thermomix, I've added the dish to my weekly plan. So I'm going home, and from my menu on the application on my phone, I've added the dish to cook today. I will find it here on my week, and straight away it pops there. Start cooking. And as I know, part of these recipes are potatoes, but the peeling of the potatoes is not included at the recipe, but I have the peeler. So I've opened the recipe, I'm going home, slide left to the peeling function, peeler. All the characteristics about the peeler are popping once you open the function. It's already preset on 4 minutes and peeler preset function. So I'm going to add my peeler in the bowl. I'll need 600 grams of water, my potatoes. If your potatoes are bigger than this, let's say you have a potato that is very big, please make sure that when you cut it, it looks as if it's going to be a cube. That it will help you to also peel big potatoes, not only the ideal round potatoes. Done. 4 minutes, I can go and do anything. My potatoes are ready. Here's how they look. I'm happy with my peeler and use it all the time with all kinds of roots vegetables. Let's continue with the recipe. The recipe calls for sliced potatoes, so I'm just slicing it and preparing it in the basket to simmer in the same time that we cook our tomato sauce, the fish and the other vegetables in the varoma. Right, so we finished with the potatoes prep. I left my recipe open here in the background. I'm gonna go back to it and it's gonna wait for me in the same step where I left it. So the recipe requires for my varoma. Now, because we are recording, I've preset it. I'll just place the varoma as if you have to do it at home, but in my case it's already done. I place the varoma on top, add the potatoes. I'll have to add the potatoes here, but I'm cooking my potatoes in the simmering basket because I also want to cook some vegetables in the same time with the other ingredients. So you at home also can use this time to cook extra potatoes. Okay? Then we'll lightly grease varoma, but I decided to put paper baking dish because I don't want the fish taste to go into the sauce and on top of the potatoes, even though I'll eat them all together. I placed my white fish. You can use any kind of fish, even you can use chicken strips. I've seasoned already my fish with salt, pepper, a little bit of olive oil and some lemon juice, and I will just set all this aside. Have it ready for when I have to start cooking. Let's go ahead and do the tomato sauce. 150 grams of onion, 1 garlic, I like garlic, so I'll put 2. 100 grams of carrots. My carrot was bigger than 100 grams, that's fine. 30 grams of olive oil. 50 grams of white wine. I don't necessarily cook with white wine, but you can substitute that with 1 tablespoon of vinegar, apple cider vinegar. 400 grams of cut tomatoes. I had a leftover red pepper in the fridge, so I'm gonna use that also. Half a teaspoon of ground black pepper. 1 teaspoon of salt. As you can see, I don't have a spoon, but I know that is 5 grams. So I'll just open the scale from the menu of the recipe and weigh 5 grams. 100 grams of water. My tomatoes are quite watery and the bell pepper will also leave water behind, so I've decided not to use any water now. I'll put my lid, measuring cup, and I'll chop this for 5 seconds at speed 5. This is how it looks. I'm gonna make sure it's all together. And now the recipe asks me for the aroma. I'm going back to what I said not to do, but I will have to do it because I'm adding the potato. So the potato needs water to steam. And I will have to, because of that, I'll have to add the 100 grams of water. So I'll get to the potatoes and start cooking. So the recipe is requiring for 15 minutes of cooking. And if you are at home, this is your time of going back to anything you have to do. In my case, I'm gonna cook this on the back on another Thermomix, and I'm gonna use the time of the 15 minutes to cook another dish. Let's do our risotto. First step is to grind the Parmesan. So good to have at home freshly ground Parmesan cheese. 40 grams of Parmesan cheese. Place my lid. 10 seconds, speed 10. Done. I didn't have time even to blink. Transfer the Parmesan cheese to a bowl. So my next step is to clean and dry my bowl. But since I'll have to saute my vegetables, I don't have to do that. And the little cheese there doesn't bother me. So if you are particular with that, you can go ahead and do it. But I'll just continue with my recipe. 30 grams of shallots. Chopping my shallots for 3 seconds at speed 5. Done. Scrape down the sides. Nice and quick. 40 grams of cold butter. I'm gonna be crying here. It's from the onion. 40 grams of olive oil. And I'm gonna saute for 3 minutes at 120 degrees, speed 1. As always, I forget to do something. It's asking for the simmering basket, so I brought it and I'm gonna change it with the measuring cup. In this way, the water from the shallots get to evaporate and it's not gonna be all watery once it's sauteed. My saute is finished. Let's go next. 300 grams of risotto, which it should be unwashed. I will have to place my splash guard because it's gonna use the function of high heat, which is 160 degrees, for sauteing the rice with the other vegetables for 3 minutes. So here, I'm gonna just activate the function. So if it's your first time using the high heat function, just to tell you that the blade will stop, wait for some seconds, and then turn again, and so on till all the time is finished. In this way, the browning is happening. So my high heat function stopped sauteing the rice, and we need to add 60 grams of dry wine. Again, I don't cook with wine, so I'm just gonna add 60 grams of water. Press start. Again, we use the high heat function. It's already part of the recipe. I'll just have to activate it for 2 minutes. My saute is ready. Let's continue. Scrape down the sides. 1 or 2 tablespoons of vegetable stock. One of the recipes that we're going to link today is the vegetable stock that we've done before. and is required in most of your soups and stews that you're gonna get the recipes from the Thermomix. We have to see that when we buy pre-made stuff at the supermarket, there are lots of sugars added, conservants, and so on. When you make it at home, it's literally just vegetables and herbs. So you're also controlling the intake of additives into your diet. Literally the taste in your dishes, it makes a big difference. 250 grams of fresh sliced mushrooms, 720 grams of water. You have to mix it so you make sure that the bottom rice, it gets mixed with the water a little bit. Because of the high heat function, it sticks to the bottom. So we help it now to get cooked. You can feel it in your spatula. And again, it needs to cook for 13 minutes. I'm going to continue cooking it in the back, and I can go to my next recipe and I will show you once it's ready. So you'll have to cook in 13 minutes, 100 degrees, speed 1.5, reverse, with the simmering basket on top. Okay, so while doing our risotto, remember I was cooking also in the back the fish 3-layer dish. In one step, after the first 15 minutes of cooking, the recipe is asking to add the tray, the varoma tray with the fish. We did that, and you cook another 15 minutes. So we already finished this second part with the added 15 minutes. And by now, everything should be ready, and I will show you shortly how the dish it looks as an end product. As of now, I can show you the fish. Our vegetables are under, and through here you can sneak peek on the potatoes. Shortly I will dish it nicely. My risotto scoring is ready. So I've already put the risotto recipe here just to follow the steps at the end, and it's just saying to me to add the Parmesan cheese and transfer it to a thermal dish and let it to rest for 5 minutes before serving. So I'm going to do that. Stir to combine with the spatula. Beautiful. As a personal preference, once I place it in the thermal dish, I will add some fresh chopped parsley. Just before I'm going to my banana bread recipe, I'm going to use my Thermomix pre-wash function to wash the bowl so I can go ahead with the next recipe. This is going to sit in the back and wait for me to show it to you at the end. Ideally, it's best to consume it after the 5 minutes rest time, as the recipe advises you. Let's do our banana bread this time. Start cooking. It's one of the most cooked recipes on Cookie-Do. It has more than 2000 volts. Preheat oven on 180 degrees. I've already done that. Grease a deep side loaf tin. I have not greased it because I'm using baking paper. So here is ready. 350 grams of ripe bananas. It's about 4 bananas. 5 seconds speed 6. Next. 130 grams of unsalted butter. 150 grams of caster sugar. But I've done this recipe before and I've only added 50 or 60 grams of dark brown sugar and it was fine to my taste. So you can play with the sugar the way you want it. Sometimes if I don't want to use any sugar, I will actually use half of the quantity of the sugar, but it's in dates. So today I'm going to use dark sugar and I'm going to add only 60 grams. My bananas are ripe anyway, so they are sweet. Mix this for 20 seconds to speed 4. Scrape down the sides of the bowl. 2 eggs. Place the lid on top with the measuring cup. 10 seconds, speed 4. Next, 200 grams of plain flour. At home, sometimes I use spelt flour, which works perfectly. Could use whole grain also, and 1 pinch of salt. and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. I already have the baking powder and the baking soda here. 100 grams of buttermilk, which I don't have, so I'm going to use normal milk. Also, if you don't want to use normal milk, you can use any nut milk or alternatives. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, which again I don't have, but I have a vanilla bean, so I'm going to scrape the seeds and add that. I'm cutting down the vanilla bean, and with the back of the knife, the dull part, you scrape outwards. Try and get the most part of this. And with the leftover bean, you can make your own vanilla sugar. And here is my vanilla beans. I'll make sure it goes with the other ingredients. We've already done the tutorial of the vanilla sugar. You will get a link down below so to see how it was done. I'll place my lid on top. 20 seconds, speed 4. Whilst anything is happening on the Thermomix, I can go preview and see what's the next step. So in my case, it's saying I'll have to pour in my tin. So I'm bringing my tin back. Spread the butter all around. Make sure you get everything from the mixing bowl. As a tip how to clean your plates, place your bowl on the Thermomix, go home, 1 second, speed 10. My blades are clean and I can save more of the butter. You can do the same trick for anything that is stuck around the blades or with your butterfly, but remember the butterfly cannot go further than speed 4. So you'll do 1 or 2 seconds and speed 4. Right, gonna make the butter all even. I have 2 toppings, but it's totally up to you which kind of toppings you'd like to do. You can even slice a banana and decorate it with the fresh banana and let it bake. I'm gonna use chocolate nibs. And I also had some pine nuts. We'll also add that. If you are allergic to nuts, don't use it. If you are not allergic to nuts, you can also add nuts in the butter while everything is mixing, which you previously chopped with the Thermomix also. So now this is going to go in the oven with my sensor. And because the recipe itself is not connected to the sensor, I'm going to use the sensor manually. So on the phone, I'm going to connect to the Thermomix and make sure that the direction of the sensor is out inwards in the butter and does not touch, it should not touch the bottom of your tin. So we'll place it here and let it sit inside. Okay, with the tip of it you can feel the bottom. If you do that, you'll just lift it a little bit to make sure it's not touching the bottom. So now I'm going to open the cooking setter from my phone, and because my Thermomix is not updated, so even though the recipe has an option to add the sensor in the cooking part, as of now I cannot, but I can use the sensor just with my phone. If you don't have a sensor, the recipe requires to bake the bread 50 to 60 minutes at 180 degrees or until inserted skewer comes out clean. In my case, with the sensor, I'm going to go to the sensor, set the temperature, and manually pick what I'm doing. I'm doing a cake. It's a fruit cake, and the inside, the core of the butter should reach 96 degrees. So now I'm starting it. I always receive a video how to set the sensor and how to position it. I've done that already. At the moment, the core is at 24 degrees. And it says the app that in approximately 40 minutes, it should be ready. I'm going to put it in the oven and update you later how it's going. Okay, let's do our pizza. We'll start with the pizza dough. It's a very simple dough. Lightly grease a large bowl with olive oil and set aside. But because I have two bowls, I don't have to do that because I'm going to leave my dough in the bowl that I'm mixing it and continue cooking with my extra bowl. 220 grams of lukewarm water. It's just room temperature water. 1 teaspoon sugar. 10 grams of instant yeast. Place your lid and the measuring cup. And now my Thermomix is going to mix all these ingredients. Now that it's finished mixing, I have a tip for you. If you don't have warm water, the Thermomix has a kettle function. So before adding the ingredients, just add your water, come out of the recipe, come to the kettle, set the temperature to 37 degrees and start the kettle. This way you're warming the water to lukewarm or the perfect temperature for the yeast to start proofing faster. Add your sugar, add the yeast. Let it mix for 20 seconds and just let it rest. So right now, I'm just going to let it rest and see what's happening and come back to it in 10 minutes. And my water, it's a little warm because I've got it from my filter, which also disposes warm water. So I'll show you how it looks in activated yeast. With the activated yeast, you will shorten the time of proofing the bread. So instead of waiting for 1 hour, maybe you just have to wait for half an hour, 45 minutes. Let's see how it goes. Right, so let's see what happened in the 10 minutes waiting while I was doing other stuff around. Here it is, super active. Nice and bubbly. This also helps you to show you that your yeast is not expired, because if it was expired, it wouldn't bubble. And in order for you to save money, don't buy the small individual sachets, buy a big pack and keep it once open in your freezer. It will stay fresh for longer. Now let's continue with the other steps of the recipe. Going back to my recipe, 400 grams of red flour or pizza flour. The most protein in the flour is the better. But if you don't have a specific pizza flour, you can also use all-purpose. Sometimes I even use spelt. 30 grams of olive oil. 1 teaspoon salt. When you follow the recipes from Thermomix, sometimes we go over a few grams, we are under a few grams, that's fine. The recipe, it will not stop. You don't have to really follow it as it is. As long as what you have less or more doesn't change the recipe radically. Let's say if it's asking you for 100 grams of oil, but you only have 20, well, then I would look for the other 80 grams of oil. But if I have to put 40 grams of oil and I have only 30, it will still work. Let's go next. And now it's going to knead for 2 minutes. I absolutely love this function. It takes away a lot of my elbow work. See you in a bit. So now the recipe is saying to transfer the dough to the covered container. But because I have an extra bowl and I can continue with my mashed potato recipe, I will leave the dough here to rest. The bowl from the Thermomix works like a thermos and keeps the temperature of the water that was at the beginning 37 degrees warm. So my dough, it will not cool down. This will help my dough to proof faster. So this is another way how to use your extra bowl if you have it. I'm going to use the timer from the Thermomix and I'm going to set it for 30 minutes just to check on my dough. And as a guide, I'm going to use the markers on the bowl. Here you have markers for 500, 1 liter, 1 liter and a half, 2 liters and 2 liters, 200. With my hand, I'm going to make a bowl inside. Yeah, be careful with the blade, it's very sharp. So my dough reaches somewhere around 1 liter height. So I'm going to remember that and see if it's going to double, then it has to be all the way at least up to 2 liters. But let's see. So here it is right now. Let's see it later once it doubled in size. So this is how it looks on my phone when I'm cooking manually, when the core temperature has reached the required temperature. And I got a notification. Beautiful banana bread is ready. And my app has notified me that the core temperature is reached, which was 96 degrees. We'll show you later how it's inside once it cools. Right, let's do our amazing, super fast and super healthy and rich and super filling salad. It's called broccoli salad. I will start cooking and I need 200 grams of broccoli. In the same time, I would like to tell you that I've used the same bowl to chop some parsley for my risotto, and I don't have to wash it, it's just parsley. So parsley can be, some traces of parsley can be in my salad. I'm gonna add 200 grams of broccoli. Next, 100 gram bell pepper, 100 grams apple, I will add 1 full apple, 30 grams pine nuts, if you are allergic, just skip them, 15 grams of oil, olive oil, I'm always using that for my salads, nice and healthy, 10 grams of fruit vinegar, I have apple cider vinegar and which I've homemade, so I'm going to use that, half or 1 teaspoon of honey to taste, as now I don't have honey, but I have molasses, so I'm going to use 1 tablespoon of molasses, which also works. 1 teaspoon salt, ground black pepper, 1/4 teaspoon, and this is when magic it happens. Lid on 5 seconds, speed 4. After 5 seconds chopping. Can you do that by hand? Definitely not. It took me 5 seconds chopping with the Thermomix. Cannot wait to taste it. So let's do my lemonade now. It's literally a 2 seconds lemonade. Start cooking. 2 to 3 lemons, preferably organic and halved. Here I have 3 lemons. And as personal touch, I added ginger. 18 ounces of water. 4 ounces of sugar. So much. Place my lid, and the Thermomix recipe is telling me or advising me to hold my hand on top. Why? The big chunks of lemon might hit the measuring cup from the back and pop it out. Most probably it will not happen, but just in case. On the screen right now I have 2 seconds, speed 10, so I'll have to be very fast turning the speed selector. Let's go! Lemonade is ready. Did you get time to blink? I didn't. Now I'll just have to add the 18 ounces of water. Now it's telling me to insert my simmering basket. I'm going to get it. Hold the bowl from the lower side when you're pouring out, and with the other hand hold the simmering basket. Ready to serve. How simple was that? Totally up to you. If you'd like to serve it with ice or without, if you'd like to, instead of the ginger, to use watermelon, strawberries, orange, grapefruit, it's the sky's the limit. How do you want to give the twist to the lemonade? Let's do our mashed potato for 2. Very easy recipe. Parmesan cheese cut into pieces is totally optional, but I will do it. 10 seconds to speed 9 to grate our parmesan. Parmesan is ready. Transfer 1 tablespoon of the parmesan into a bowl and set aside to use in the mashed potato. After saying rinse and dry mixing bowl, I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna add water and steam my potatoes. I don't really have to wash it, because in the recipe itself has parmesan, so I don't mind the parmesan taste. This is how it looks once it's being grated. I'll just put it all aside. At the end, from here, I'm going to add to my mashed potatoes. I'm going to put my bowl back. 600 grams of water. Place the simmering basket inside. 250 to 300 grams of potatoes that's been cut already. By the way, my basket is not broken. It's just a TM5 model which did not have a lid. Insert measuring cup. It says 20 minutes. Varoma temperature speed 2. See you in a while to just finish it up. Right, so I've thrown away the water used. Just as a tip, please check your potatoes before removing them. As if it's needed to be cooked longer time, you can use the same water that was there. Depends on how big we cut the potatoes, they might or not cook in the 20 minutes. So just to make sure that they are cooked, check it before you remove it from there. I'm gonna go next. It's saying to me to place the cooked potatoes here. Pinch of salt. 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. 1 tablespoon of butter. 1 pinch of ground nutmeg. I'm allergic to nutmeg, so this time I will not choose to put it. 1 tablespoon of the reserved Parmesan cheese. Place a lid on top with a measuring cup. 10 seconds, speed 4. And my potatoes are ready to serve. Let's finish up with our pizza. My dough is beautifully doubled in size. As you can see, it's reached the mark from maximum. I'm gonna use my spatula to separate it from the wall of the bowl. You see how easy it is to make pizza at home. And then, in the same time, this is my blade. So I'm gonna put the bowl upside down and turn it so I can release the dough from the bottom of the bowl. Let's say you have a big amount of dough and you cannot do this, or it's difficult. You can totally open the bowl and all the dough would fall out with the blade. When you remove the blade from the dough, be careful because the blades are sharp. So using the spatula you can release the dough from the blade. Okay, the amount of dough that we made today, it's more than enough for 2 pizzas. So I'm gonna split all the dough in 2, put a part aside and work on one and then work on the other one. Okay, all my blade is almost finished, almost so clean. I can also use the dough cleaning function from the bowl. I'm gonna scrape down from the walls of the bowl as much as I can of this part of the dough because we don't like to waste. Okay, it's quite a bit. And meanwhile I'll work the dough. I can put on the back Thermomix that we have here at the main office, and it's washing by itself. Put it back easily together. I'm gonna keep this lid because I want to grate some cheese. So first I'm gonna put all my dough together. It's totally up to you which kind of pizza you would like to make. I make the nice bowl. I'm gonna split in half. I have already oiled a bowl so the dough doesn't stick to it and it's easy for me to remove it. Let's try see as much as we can roll it and stretch it with our hands. Otherwise I can also use the roller. You can make it as thin or as thick as you wish. Make sure that on the mat you put some flour. And if you have an oven-proof mat, you can just put the mat all together on the baking tray. You don't have to use baking paper. If you see that the dough is sticking, turn it the other way, collect some of the flour from the mat, and this way it's not gonna be sticky. And totally up to you how thin you would like to have it. It's a beautiful activity for the kids to do. If they are big enough and strong enough to stretch the pizza, they will love to do this. Otherwise, you can stretch the dough for them and then they can come and just put the toppings on top. Let's grate our cheese. I have a mix of 3 cheeses. We're having mozzarella, Gruyere and cheddar cheese. I'll just place it in my bowl all together. Place the lid, 5 seconds, speed 10. As I could hear that my cheese was already chopped, I stopped after 2 seconds. There are 3 seconds left and let's see how is my cheese. Perfectly grated. So remember, 2 seconds speed 10 or 5 seconds speed 5. If you over chop it, it's going to create into a paste. So I had my intuition that I heard the cheese not sounding as big chunks anymore, and I stopped it and it's perfect. Now I'm gonna put some tomato sauce first. There are lots of tomato sauce recipes in the Thermomix. Again, for your kids, you can hide lots of vegetables in it. You can make it from fresh tomatoes. You can add bell peppers to it, carrots, celery. I think it's fine for now. And let's spread our grated mix of cheeses. Could also add some herbs if you wish, some fresh basil. The second one will make it a vegetable pizza. So much easier than kneading the dough by hand. The Thermomix knead my dough in 2 minutes. I think it's fine. The amount of cheese as of now. My oven is at 180 degrees. Now I just have to look at it because it's going to bake very fast. Let's add some vegetables as toppings. I have some sliced mushrooms. That's fine. Some red pepper. Let's top it up with some mozzarella. Let's see how I'm going to do this. So I'm going to grab my mat. Wish me luck. 1, 2, 3. So easy. And place it in here. Because it overlaps over my tray, I'm gonna make sure it's centered. And I'm gonna roll it inwards so I can slide it in the oven. On the other side also. And this way, beautiful, very easy to make, healthy pizza. It's going to my oven of 180 degrees. Let's cut the banana bread. It's still a little bit warm. Perfect. So fluffy. And I did not have to test with a stick, nor had to worry that it's undercooked or overcooked. So, let's take this piece. I'm not a baker, but this is beyond anything I could ever make. You must try it. So easy to make. Delicious. Let's try the salad. Often I make it when I have people over. They are all surprised. How is it possible in such a short time to have a salad ready and effortless? Let's see. So fresh. Delicious. Sorry, but my mouth is full. Goodness from broccoli, from apple, red pepper, all full of vitamins. The touch of vinaigrette, it's on the point. Molasses, it had its own touch. You don't feel it strong at all. Please try it. Guess what I have here? Beautiful risotto. It's been resting for a while. Still, sorry, I'm too hungry. We should have tried it when we made it. I can say more than this. This is all. Delicious. The way to make the risotto is so easy. When you do it classic, you have to stay in front of the pot and stir continuously for 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depends. Well, with the Thermomix, it's so easy. You barely do anything. You just add the ingredients and the heavy part of it, let the Thermomix do it. You will always have on point rice, cooked rice, and creamy and delicious risotto. Let's see how the fish dish came up. So I'm gonna dish up the vegetable sauce on the bottom, which looks incredible. I'm gonna put some of the potatoes on the side and let's see and try the fish. Looks yummy. Remember, we also had the broccoli and the carrots. We'll get some of that too. They're cold now, doesn't matter. You can touch it with the hands. It's my plate. Would you like to join me? Let's see. Absolutely delicious. I'll try a potato. So delicious. You definitely must try it. It's effortless. Took me so short time to be in front of the Thermomix, and then I just left it, and for 20 minutes it did its own thing. It's like magic. Let's try the lemonade. Remember, I've used some ginger, so I can even say it's a ginger lemonade. So refreshing. Please, definitely try it. It took me 2 seconds and just the time to cut 3 lemons in half. Beautiful mashed potatoes. You can serve it with anything, with the fish that we cooked earlier, with chicken. It's so versatile and so easy to make. Perfect. I do it all the time at home and my kids absolutely love it. See you in our next series.